Yeah, it's not a game of territorial.io. It's not like
No.
you take a bunch of numbers and swarm them, you know? It's
Hmm.
not like Risk. You know, if the West was actually based, I mean, we're this nationalistic empire,
Hmm.
and our uniforms and our aesthetic was a lot more American, a lot more blue, a lot more green, a lot more colorful, you know, aesthetics. We could have warfare that looked a lot more like it did pre. Well, World War One, I'd say, was pretty aesthetical in some ways in the early days. But point being is we would have warfare like it was back then, and we can't because it's just the globalists are extremely ambitious to establish this one world order. They get one chance at this life. And it's their only chance, and they know this. They know they've already sold their soul. By the way, if you sell your soul, you can still redeem yourself no matter what. They don't know that. They're deluded by Satan and think there's no redemption. They
Hmm.
need to know that. But here's the thing: they don't know that, and they think they need to live as long as possible because if they die, they're going straight to hell. And so they're trying to do whatever it takes to get their one world empire so they can live out their life, get their 50 years of dopamine and pleasure, maybe longer, maybe less. Um, and that's it. The truth is, that's not going to happen. They're not going to live forever. They're not going to live a long period of time. And even if they get their one world empire, it's not going to be a utopia. It's going to be a dystopia. Even for them, even from the quality of life, is going to be very low. Keep
Hmm.
that in mind as well. They don't know that either because they're being illusioned by Satan himself. So,
Right.
you know, that's just how it is for them. And pride, I gotta say this: pride is the deadliest sin. I think any man can deal with gluttony or lust or envy or anything. And I know that lust is a very hard one. A lot of men struggle with pornography. They struggle with same-sex attraction. They struggle with fetishes that go beyond that. But at the end of the day, how many men come up to you and say, "I'm struggling with pride. I'm struggling with power. I can't stop grabbing power." I don't know anyone that is struggling with pride that is saying, I have an issue, I have an addiction to power. No one says that. Why?
Hmm.
Because pride is the deadliest sin, as it is biblically. And these power
Hmm.
figures that have all this power in the world, a big reason why they're never just going to wake up and say, you know, I'm done, why there are so few people in power, whether they're a 33-degree Satan, whether they're, you know, a high ranking rabbi in a synagogue of Satan, whether they're you know, a politician that's involved in all this degeneracy and subversion, they're not going to come out because the pride goes so high, it goes so far that they're stuck. They're stuck in this endless loop of just holding on to this power because power is so addicting. Power and pride to
Hmm.
have the ability to be able to influence and command others, the ability to be looked up to by anyone and everyone, to go anywhere and be respected. I mean, in this world, it's quite the prize because this world it is really so dull and depressing. I mean, we really are surrounded by very low quality everything, and so when we are happy, it's usually a treasure. And if you study, you know, back then, people didn't have, even though the quality of life was a lot lower before in the early 1900s as well. Um, People were usually a lot more happier. You look at videos of people back then; they were always smiling, always laughing. I looked at a video of a movie theater in the early 2000s watching. I think it was the first Spider-Man, and they were laughing at like the most corniest, most like cringiest, dare I say this, cringiest stuff. But it's because
Hmm.
the quality of life and how things are back then, people were a lot more happier than they are now. And so the elite and what they're struggling with is that they're attached this power aspect so badly is because if, without it, they're nothing. They're back to being depressed. They're back to being nobodies. They're back to being in a state of mind where it's extremely dull. And unless they're high on weed or other sinful desires 24/7, they have to live in the reality and living in this fantasy land of total power and control, which is also again another illusion. I mean, you want to look at someone with power. Look at a dictator. Look at someone like a Stalinist figure or a king or a monarch. Okay, that's real power. Having the ability to rally tons of thousands of men and go charging in battle and having these huge parades and rallies with, you know, huge marches and huge events, that is real power.